Hello and welcome to this Rivemont MicroCap Strategy monthly update for December 2022. My name is Matthew Martin and I'm a portfolio manager at Rivemont. Before we begin, I must mention that this presentation is for informational purposes only. These are not recommendations or investment advice, and if I talk about companies during the presentation, Rivemont may hold positions in these companies and may trade on them at any time without prior notice. So let's start with a snapshot of the Rivemont MicroCap Fund as of the end of December 2022. So let's start with a snapshot of the Rivemont MicroCap Fund as of the end of December 2022. The assets under management were 11 million and the annualized return since inception was 4.1%. Actually, since the year is over, I can tell you about the yearly return as well. It was minus 33% in 2022. So as you can see, a very challenging year, not only for microcaps but for markets in general. As you probably know, our microcap strategy is very volatile, and what volatility does is that typically we will outperform in good markets and underperform in bad markets. So that's what happened in 2022. Unfortunately, it was a very challenging year, but we think that when we return in a bull market, eventually the fund returns should be very interesting. Now, in terms of portfolio positions, we ended the year at 21 positions, and the concentration in the top 5 holdings was 52%, which was similar to last month. Now, in terms of investment strategy, not much happened during December. The one thing that I would highlight is that we added quite significantly to one of our large holdings, a company called Kraken Robotics, or PNG on the TSX Venture. It's actually a company that we've owned in the fund for almost 5 years since we started the strategy. And initially we bought our first shares at 17 cents per share. The stock is now trading between 55 and 60 cents per share. So a very good return so far on our first shares. But what's beautiful about microcap companies that are executing is that they are growing quickly, they are growing their revenues and profits, and even 5 years later, with a stock price that is up over 300%, we still feel it's a bargain right now. We still like the risk reward, and since the company announced some pretty good news in December, we decided that it was one of our best opportunities right now, and we decided to buy more and make it one of our largest holdings in the fund right now. Speaking about outlook, one thing that I noticed recently in the last few weeks is that we're seeing an acceleration in the number of microcap companies that are being acquired. There are many companies on my watch list that I saw being acquired lately by strategic buyers, and for significant premiums. I've seen as much as 80% and 130% premiums on some acquisitions. So what that tells me is that the microcap space is very undervalued right now, and some smart money, bigger money is coming down market to buy these small companies at a discount. So it can be positive in a way, because if the markets don't cooperate and don't value our stocks at their fair value, someone else will, and some strategic buyers will acquire maybe some of our portfolio companies eventually, which will help the whole sector be marked up to its fair value eventually. Then I read a blog post recently by the blog of Dollars and Data, and it's just some reasons to be optimistic for the year ahead. So the author of the blog did a research of the last 120 years on the US stock market, and he looked at the yearly returns of the US stock market, and what he found was that 7 out of 10 years the stock market is up. So if we just look at base rates, what are the odds that the stock market will be up in a given year? It's historically it's been 70%. So as we start 2023, we can just look at what's the base rate. 70% of the time the stock market should be up this year, and then not every year is the same. We suffered a significant decline last year, and the author looked at what happens the following year after a big decline, and typically there's a higher likelihood that we could see a big recovery in the following year. So again, these are just historical facts and statistics. Every year is different, every situation is different. It doesn't mean that it will happen in 2023, but these are just some things to keep in mind, and some reasons to be optimistic going forward. Now a few other highlights before closing. The first is that I had the chance to present at the Stock Pitch World Cup on December 6th. The Stock Pitch World Cup is a competition held by the Planet MicroCap Showcase virtual conference, and the concept basically is that they divided the world in 6 regions or countries and invited 2 to 4 people per region to pitch their favorite stock idea at current price. And so I was fortunate enough to be invited as part of Team Canada to pitch my current favorite idea, which was Media Valley. So if you're interested in watching this presentation, there's a replay available on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description down below, and you can watch my pitch, but also the other pitch from Team Canada as well. And finally, we will send our annual letter in the coming weeks, and in this letter we will discuss more about the yearly returns, the quarterly returns, and we'll do a good review of the 2022 year. So if you're interested in that, check out your emails in the coming weeks. So that's it for the monthly update for December 2022. Thank you very much for listening. I wish you a very good, healthy and prosperous 2023. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to me, and you can also visit the website rivemont.ca to find out more information about all of our strategies. Thank you, and I'll talk to you next month.